The chamber of the Galactic Council glowed with shifting colors, filled with the uneasy hum of alien voices. Representatives from 200 worlds sat in a wide circle, their attention fixed on the central holo display. The stars on the screen were calm at first, then distorted, bending like glass under heat. Something massive had appeared at the edge of known space. The sensors trembled as they tried to measure it. The readings made no sense. Energy levels spiked so high that the computers froze trying to process the numbers. Ambassador Cora of the Velen species stood first. Her skin shimmered like bronze scales under the chamber lights. "That cannot be correct," she said sharply. "No ship can produce that much power. The system must be broken." But it wasn't. The operator, a nervous green-skinned technician, looked up with wide eyes. "It's real," he whispered. "A fleet of human ships. They have just exited dark space near the Lurian belt." The room fell silent. Every council member knew that name. The humans, young, ambitious, unpredictable, a species barely a century old in galactic terms. They had joined the council under heavy restrictions, forbidden from developing certain kinds of energy cores and trans-dimensional drives. They were considered brave but reckless, clever but limited. No one thought they could catch up with the elder races, and yet here they were, commanding something the galaxy had never seen. The lead vessel was enormous, silent, and dark. No glow of engines, no radiation leak. It moved like a shadow, and the scanners couldn't trace its origin. Its name was simple, painted in old Terran script across its hull: EHS Vanguard. On the ship's bridge, Captain Mason Hale stood near the observation window. The stars were bright and sharp against the black hull. His crew was small, only 50 humans trained to operate a ship that no one truly understood. The walls were smooth metal with veins of faint light, pulsing slowly like a living heartbeat. The technology inside was older than human history itself. Hale ran a hand along the rail and spoke softly. Hard to believe she was under ice for who knows how long. His second officer, Lieutenant Kara Miles, nodded. "Some of the engineers think it was waiting for us, sir. The neural systems respond better to humans than to any AI. Maybe it recognized something in us," Hale replied, half to himself. "Maybe it remembers who built it." The ship had been found 2 years earlier, buried deep under the Antarctic ice shelf. The discovery was meant to be secret, but the moment it powered up, every satellite in orbit detected the surge. Within weeks, Earth's governments had joined forces to study it. When they realized it could fuse with human thought and react to emotional commands, they decided to launch it into deep space with a trained crew. Now, the experiment was no longer just an exploration mission. It was a statement to the galaxy that humanity had changed. The Galactic Council held an emergency meeting to discuss what to do. The Zolkar delegates called for the fleet to be destroyed before it could enter council space. The Orath, calm and logical, suggested a peaceful meeting first. Ambassador Cora, however, was the loudest voice in the chamber. "Humans were restricted from building drives that can fold dimensions," she said. "This ship breaks every law we agreed upon. If we let them continue, they will unbalance everything we have built." The council president, a tall, silver-skinned being named Rel Than, tapped his claws on the table. "And if we cannot stop them?" he asked quietly. No one answered. At that same moment, on the bridge of the Vanguard, the humans received a transmission. A golden hologram appeared, showing the council's message in multiple languages. "This is the Galactic Council," the voice said. "You are entering restricted space with unauthorized technology. Identify your vessel and explain the nature of your propulsion systems immediately." Captain Hale listened silently, then turned the hologram off. His face remained calm, but his crew could see the tension in his eyes. "Should we answer?" Lieutenant Miles asked. "No," Hale said. "Not yet. They'll never believe us anyway." He walked to the center console. The floor glowed beneath his boots as the ship's core responded to his presence. A voice, calm, genderless, and ancient, spoke inside his mind. "Captain Hale. Course is locked toward Eris Prime. Estimated time, 6 hours. Do you wish to proceed?" He hesitated. "Why Eris Prime?" "Because they are afraid," the voice said. "And fear must see truth." Hale exhaled slowly. "Proceed." In the council chamber, alarms started to ring. The human ship had disappeared from every known sensor. It hadn't warped, it hadn't jumped, it had simply vanished. The coordinates placed it far beyond known speed or physics. A moment later, the Vanguard appeared in orbit above Eris Prime itself. Panic broke out. Defense satellites locked onto the new arrival. Hundreds of weapons charged across the sky, each one targeting the silent human vessel. The Council ordered every fleet in the system to prepare for attack. Ambassador Cora shouted across the table. I warned you. They've come to declare war. But President Rel Than shook his head slowly. No, look, the ship was not firing. It was just there, motionless, surrounded by faint ripples of light like heat waves on a cold day. From the planet's surface, citizens looked up and saw a shadow covering part of the sun. Some thought it was a new moon. Others thought it was a warning. Inside the Vanguard, Captain Hale watched the defense grids light up. They're scared, he murmured. Lieutenant Miles bit her lip. Maybe we should show them we're not here to fight. We already have, Hale said quietly. We didn't bring any weapons. At that moment, the ship's voice spoke again, faintly through the bridge speakers. Incoming transmission from Eris Prime. Shall I connect? Hale nodded. The council chamber flickered with a projection. His image standing before them, calm, his uniform simple, his eyes reflecting the faint silver glow of the ship's interface. I am Captain Mason Hale of Earth, he said. We come in peace. But we cannot hide what we have found. Ambassador Cora leaned forward, eyes narrow. That ship violates every treaty. You've built a forbidden weapon. Hale shook his head. We didn't build it. We found it. It recognized us. It connected to us, the council murmured in disbelief. The Orath representative leaned forward. Recognized? What do you mean? The ship isn't just metal, Hale explained. It's alive in a way. It carries memories, echoes of something older. It calls itself a guardian. It said it was waiting for someone who could carry its purpose. The council chamber erupted in confusion. Some shouted that it was impossible. Others argued it was proof that humans had uncovered ancient builder technology, the kind of relics thought lost forever. Hale's image flickered for a moment as energy surged around the ship. We don't want conflict, he continued. But whatever the builders started, it seems they left it for us to finish. The projection faded. Silence filled the chamber. Then Ambassador Cora slammed her hand against the table. We cannot allow this. If they can control the Guardians, they can control the galaxy. But even as she spoke, the Council's sensors began to detect something strange. More signals appeared. 3 more massive objects leaving Earth's orbit. 1 from Mars. 1 from the Moon. 1 from Titan. Each with human signatures. President Rel Than rose slowly from his seat. His voice trembled when he spoke. They are awakening more of them. Outside the window, the Vanguard hovered in perfect stillness. No shields, no weapons, no aggression, just quiet power. On the bridge, Hale looked out at the planet below. They'll never trust us, he said softly. Lieutenant Miles answered, then we'll just have to prove them wrong. The ship's voice echoed gently, almost like a whisper. The galaxy has forgotten who they were meant to be. Perhaps you will remind them. Captain Hale took a deep breath as stars reflected across the hull like fire. He didn't know what the ancients had intended or why the ship had chosen humanity. But he knew one thing for certain. Whatever came next, the galaxy would never be the same again. The Vanguard drifted above Eris Prime like a silent mountain of black glass. Its surface shimmered with soft light, as if the stars themselves were reflected upon it. Below, billions of eyes watched in fear and wonder. Every defense satellite and warship aimed its weapons toward the human vessel, but none dared fire first. The Council's capital had never known such silence. Inside the Council chamber, the leaders argued over what to do. Some demanded an immediate attack. Others feared that any act of aggression might bring disaster. The energy readings around the human ship were too strange, too unstable to predict. President Rel Than stood before the assembly, his silver skin catching the glow of the central projector. We are facing something beyond our understanding, he said slowly. Every weapon we have is charged. If we fire, we may provoke something none of us can stop. Ambassador Cora slammed her hand on the table. They are trespassing in our skies. Humans must be reminded of their place. The room erupted in shouts, threats, warnings, fear, all blending into a wave of noise. Then, without warning, a golden pulse spread through the chamber. It was calm, warm, and bright. Every voice stopped. The air seemed to hum softly, and the light formed a faint image above the table. Captain Mason Hale standing tall, his expression calm but firm. I am Captain Hale of the Earth human ship Vanguard. His voice echoed, clear and steady. We come not for war but for truth. Humanity requests entry to the Galactic Council as equals. No one answered. Even the bravest among them hesitated to speak. The message seemed to reach not only their ears but their thoughts. It felt peaceful yet heavy with power. Finally, Ambassador Cora found her voice. You cannot demand equality by threatening us. Your presence here breaks the oldest laws of our union. You will be detained and your technology dismantled. But before anyone could support her, the alarms blared again. The defense grid had activated. Someone had ordered the planetary fleet to open fire. Outside, hundreds of energy beams shot toward the human ship. The blast tore across the sky like streaks of lightning, hitting the Vanguard squarely. The explosions filled the upper atmosphere with light, blinding anyone looking from the surface. For a few seconds, the Council believed the threat was over. The Vanguard disappeared behind clouds of plasma and smoke. But then the light faded. The ship remained untouched. Every weapon that hit it had been absorbed like drops of rain sinking into sand. Inside the ship, the crew stood quietly at their stations. No one panicked. The console lights remained calm. The ship's voice spoke smooth and emotionless. Energy levels stable. Hostile fire detected. Shall I respond? Hale stared at the screen showing the burning sky. No, he said softly. Not yet. Outside, the Vanguard released a faint wave of golden energy. It wasn't an attack. It didn't destroy or burn. Instead, every alien ship that had fired lost power at once. Engines went silent. Shields vanished. Weapons froze mid-charge. In less than 5 seconds, the entire defense grid of Eris Prime was disabled. The council chamber shook slightly as energy waves rippled through the city. Lights flickered, screens went dark. Panic broke out once again. The council guards drew their weapons, but even their rifles refused to power up. What did they do? Shouted one of the commanders. President Rael Than raised a trembling hand. They didn't destroy us. They only silenced us. Then the golden image of Captain Hale appeared again, this time standing in the middle of the chamber, more vivid than before. His eyes had a faint silver glow, the mark of his link with the ship. I warned you not to fire, he said calmly. The Vanguard is not a weapon. It is a guardian. It protects life from destruction. Ambassador Cora glared at him. You speak of peace while your machine cripples our world. Hale shook his head. Your weapons aimed at us first. The ship only neutralized the threat. No one is hurt. The council members exchanged glances. Every report confirmed what he said. No casualties, no explosions, just silence across the fleets. President Rael Than stepped forward. Captain Hale, what is the true nature of your ship? Who built it? Hale looked down for a moment as if listening to a voice only he could hear. Then he raised his head. We believe it was made by the ancient builders. The same civilization your legends speak of, the ones who shaped the stars before vanishing. The Vanguard carries their knowledge, their will, and their warnings. When we reactivated it, it bonded with us instantly. It recognized humanity as something it had been waiting for. The council chamber filled with whispers. The name Ancient Builders had not been spoken aloud in ages. Most considered them myths. Ambassador Cora's voice trembled, though she tried to hide her fear. If that is true, then your kind has awakened a power beyond your control. Do you even understand what you carry? Hale nodded slowly. No, not completely. But we are learning. The ship teaches us in ways our science can't explain. It says it remembers a war older than time. It says the builders created guardians like this one to protect new civilizations, until they were ready to stand alone. The chamber fell silent again. Outside, the clouds around the Vanguard glowed faintly with golden light. Then the council's sensors caught new signals, 3 more massive objects appearing from hyperspace. The room filled with gasps as the displays lit up. Each one bore the markings of Earth. One emerged near Mars' orbit, another from Titan, and the third from Luna's shadow. All 3 shared the same energy signature as the Vanguard. Ambassador Cora's voice cracked. There are more of them? President Rael Than stared at the screen, speechless. It's beginning. They are awakening across the system. Hale's projection looked around the chamber. Humanity never planned this. We did not build these ships, but they seem to have chosen us. Maybe because we never stopped fighting to survive. Maybe because we still believe in hope even when everything else is lost. He paused, his gaze firm. We didn't come to conquer. We came to remind the galaxy what courage looks like. The council sat in silence. Even Cora lowered her head. The words struck something deep inside them, a memory of what their own ancestors might have once felt before they grew comfortable, cautious, and afraid of change. The energy in the room shifted. The golden light of the projection began to fade. "We will leave soon," Hale said. "But understand this. Humanity seeks peace, not power. Still, we will defend ourselves and those who stand with us. The Vanguard does not serve war, it serves balance." Then the image vanished. Outside, the ship's light dimmed. The disabled fleet slowly regained power, one system at a time. The clouds parted, revealing the bright blue curve of Eris Prime below. On the bridge of the Vanguard, Hale stood beside Lieutenant Miles, watching the planet rotate beneath them. She spoke quietly. "Do you think they'll ever trust us?" "Maybe," Hale replied. "But trust isn't given, it's earned. We'll have to show them who we really are." The ship's voice joined softly. "Course plotted for Sol system. Shall I initiate jump?" Hale nodded. "Take us home." The stars outside stretched into lines of light as the Vanguard folded through space, vanishing into silence. In the council chamber, President Rel Than remained standing long after the others had gone. He stared at the empty air where the human captain's image had been. "They were never meant to have ships like that," he whispered. "But maybe they were meant to remind us why we once reached for the stars." High above, the void shimmered for a brief second, then returned to peace. Yet across the galaxy, hidden machines began to stir, ancient guardians awakening from their slumber, responding to the same signal that had called the Vanguard.